Reflexes. Reflexes are involuntary response to a stimulus. In this video, there will be two major groups that will be discussed and which will be explained further in the latter part of this video. The first major group is called primitive or spinal reflexes. These reflexes have automatic response to stimulus. Their action is involuntary and occur without any involvement of the brain. Withdrawal reflex, cross-extension reflex, traction reflex, Moro reflex, startle reflex, and grasp reflex.
Flexor withdrawal reflex. The stimulus of the flexor withdrawal reflex is a noxious stimulus to the sole of the foot. It may be tested in a supine or sitting position. The expected response for the flexor withdrawal reflex is the extension of the toes, dorsiflexion of the foot, and uncontrollable flexion of the legs. It starts at 28 weeks of gestation and is integrated for 1 to 2 months. Cross-extension reflex. One of the spinally mediated reflexes commonly present in the first 2 months of life, demonstrated by the adduction and extension of one leg when the foot of the other leg is stimulated. When present in adults, it indicates hyperactive reflexes.
Traction reflex. The stimulus is grasping the forearm and pulling up from supine in the sitting position. The response is grasping and total flexion of the upper extremities. It begins at 28 weeks gestation and integrates in 2 to 5 months.
Moro reflex. The stimulus for this reflex is a sudden change in the position of the head in relation to the trunk. This can be done by dropping the patient backward from sitting position. The expected response for this reflex is extension and abduction of the upper extremities, hand opening and crying, followed by flexion and adduction of the arms across the chest. This reflex starts at 28 weeks of gestation and integrates at 5 to 6 months.
Go.
Startle reflex. Its stimulus is a sudden, loud, or harsh noise. Its response is a sudden extension or abduction of arms. This reflex starts upward, and integration persists.
Reflex is a flexion or clenching of the fingers or toes on stimulation of the palm and sole, normally or reflexing.
The second group of reflexes is called tonic or brainstem reflexes. These reflexes have involuntary responses to a stimuli mediated by the brainstem. Reflexes under this group are symmetrical tonic neck reflex, asymmetrical tonic neck reflex, symmetrical tonic labyrinthine, positive supporting, and associated reactions.
Asymmetric tonic neck reflex, or ATNR. Its stimulus is the rotation of the head to one side. Its response is the flexion of skull limbs, extension of jaw limbs, bow and arrow, or fencing. It begins at birth and lasts up to 4 to 6 months.
Symmetrical tonic neck reflex provides the separation of body movements between the upper and lower half of the body. It is developed after the asymmetrical tonic neck reflex and allows the infant to defy gravity on their hands and knees and precursor to creeping. This reflex helps the infant learn to rise up onto their hands and knees. Emerges between 6 to 9 months of life.
monotonic labyrinthine, its stimulus is prone or supine position. The response when prone is increased flexor tone or flexion of all limbs. The response when supine is increased tone or expansion of all limbs. It begins at birth and integrates in 6 months.
Posture supporting response. Its stimulus is the contact with the ball of the foot at an upright standing position. Its response is radial extension or co-contraction of the lower extremities, onset at birth and integrated at 6 months.
Another tonic or brainstem reflex is the associated reactions. Its stimulus is a resisted voluntary movement in any part of the body, wherein the response is an involuntary movement in a resting extremity. Its onset is from birth to 3 months and it's integrated from 8 to 9 years.
Reflexes are very important. They are commonly used to obtain information concerning the condition of the nervous system. Reflexes perform many jobs for our central nervous system. They protect us from danger and help us move our body. They begin before we are born, and they even help us through the process of making our way out of our mother's body.